How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with Alex and Ryan, back with another Juan Soto update. We're going to keep doing these as much as possible to keep you guys in the loop, what's going on, little details coming out every single day. Now, we expect things to kind of wrap up here within the next week. In fact, a lot of people are saying things could happen before the winter meetings, which is tomorrow. I don't think it will. Maybe in the next 4 or 5 days we'll get something, but honestly, it could break at any moment. Nobody really knows. There's a couple updates I want to share with you guys, kind of discuss the financial aspects of where this team is going with a contract like this and why they have to do it, why they have to let Hal Steinbrenner has to let himself spend as much as humanly possible to bring back Juan Soto, because there are not many other superstars at this caliber of talent rising to this level that are free agents in the future. This may be one of the last massive contracts we see in quite a long time, in my opinion. I don't think there's anyone that really has this type of talent. If the Yankees don't end up signing him, it's going to be mayhem. Like, you really just can't let him go for many reasons, and most of all, you can't replace his value, you can't replace his aura, you can't replace his dominance, his clutch factor. Like, he is bigger than just a player. He's a character in this equation, in this atmosphere for the Yankees, and he's the perfect fit, man. Lefty in Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, like, he'll continue to set his own records over the next couple years. I have no doubt about that. But let's talk about the price tag. Ken Rosenthal dropped an article last night that the price tag for all the teams basically has already surpassed $600 million. So there are reporters that are saying that the Blue Jays are going to give him the most amount of money. I don't know how true that is. I think it was, her name was Allison Footer, MLB Insider, MLB.com wrote about her and what she was saying. Specifically, there's widespread belief, verbatim, that the Blue Jays are going to offer him the most money. Good thing for the Yankees, the Blue Jays are literally you'd be going to hell if you go over there. They don't manage to court big free agents. They really aren't in a position to win a championship right now. They need a couple other big improvements. And you're also in freaking Toronto. Toronto's a cool city, don't get me wrong, but it's not New York City. It's not the same aura. It's not the same situation. It's cold as hell up there. So I personally, I'm biased. By all means, I am definitely biased to be privy to the Yankees. I don't see why on earth Juan Soto would go to Toronto if he's getting a similar amount of money from the Mets or the Yankees. Even the Red Sox would be a better fit than Toronto. But again, why would the Red Sox give a big contract like that when they wouldn't pay Mookie Betts? I don't know. They, obviously maybe things have changed a bit there. But Ryan, your thoughts on the contract? Obviously, we're looking more at probably 600 plus, a good chunk plus over 13, 14 years. We're looking at $46+ million, bigger than Shohei Ohtani's AAV. How are you feeling right now in terms of the Yankees' comfort going to those numbers and matching the highest offer?
Yeah, so kind of my first thoughts in regards to Soto, like the Blue Jays report, of course, that they may have the highest offer on the table. Andy Martino reported something similar, that he believes there's a widespread belief the Blue Jays will have the highest offer on the table. I wonder. I guess the question I have is, how far is Steve Cohen willing to go, and how far is Hal Steinbrenner willing to go? We know all these teams are committed to getting Soto, right? There's been a million reports saying basically the same thing. Everyone, the Blue Jays really want him, the Red Sox really want him, the Yankees really want him, the Mets really want him, the Dodgers want him, but they're not really going to pursue him heavily. They'll see if he just falls into their laps. He won't fall into their laps. So they're just kind of hanging around, making sure, just feeling out the market, right? So that's how I perceive that, and that's how it's been reported on. Like Jeff Passan said verbatim, they are not getting Juan Soto probably, that being the Dodgers. I do find it interesting, and Alex, I had been thinking about this last night, and I wanted to bring this up on this show today. It feels like there are two camps on the Soto conversation. There's the camp of, the Mets are the favorites. The Red Sox are really in this thing. The Yankees, they don't seem to be that interested. They're not going to do what it takes to get Soto. And then there's a camp of, the Yankees really want Soto. They're going to be super aggressive to get him, and it's really a New York versus New York battle. That New York versus New York battle camp seems to be the one that is the most accurate on the Soto sweepstakes, right? We had that report from Randy Miller. The Yankees were going to stop at 550. Alex, unless Ken Rosenthal misspoke, unless Ken Rosenthal said 6 instead of 5, that report is completely wrong. So we know the Yankees have surpassed $600 million. We also know the Red Sox, the Blue Jays, the Dodgers, and the Mets have. The Red Sox aggression, I think that the Mookie Betts thing, as funny as it is that they didn't, bring back Mookie Betts and all that stuff, I do think that I do think, in my opinion, that an organization can recognize, it was really stupid to trade Mookie Betts. We shouldn't be doing that to superstars. We should be bringing in superstars and paying them tons of money. I think it's totally possible. The Red Sox have found religion is kind of the best way to put it, right? They figured out, hey, we should actually spend money, not trade away good players. Now, do I think they're players for Juan Soto? Yes. Do I think they're of the same caliber of the Yankees and Mets? No. And that's going to be how I consistently feel until we get information that proves otherwise. There's been like a lot of the rumors on like the Red Sox are they're really, they're really in on Soto. Haven't come from Jeff Passan. They haven't come from Martino. They haven't come from Curry, right? I know people are going to mention the Rosenthal article, and I only have one thing to kind of float out here about the Rosenthal stuff. Rosenthal, I feel like, was very specific to the fact that the Mets he believes that the Mets will not, like the industry believes that Steve Cohen will not have be outbid. And that kind of flies in the face of the Blue Jays report. So what we know is either the Blue Jays or the Mets are going to have the highest bid. Alex, that doesn't seem very consistent. It's coming from credible places too. You'd be stupid to say Ken Rosenthal doesn't have sources. You'd be stupid to say Martino doesn't know what he's talking about, or that MLB.com writers don't know what they're talking about. These people have sources, right? They're in the positions they're in at SNY or at The Athletic or at MLB.com for a reason. It feels inconsistent, and I almost like that it's inconsistent, because to me it indicates that perhaps they don't really know who's going to have the highest offer, and that there's a lot of uncertainty in that regard. I think a lot of people are playing the we know what's going to happen game. I don't think there's anyone who really knows what's going to happen outside of it's a New York versus New York battle. And Alex, does it not feel a little weird that you've got, randomly in the last week after the Blue Jays were down and out, no one really thought of the Blue Jays. It was the Red Sox were the flavor of the week last week. Now the Blue Jays are the flavor of the week this week. Doesn't it kind of feel like it's godding a certain team, a team in the AL East, to up their offer, to match, to make sure because the Yankees feel comfortable. A lot of this feels like Scott Boras saying, you shouldn't feel comfortable. We don't want you to feel comfortable. Brian Cashman has beaten Scott Boras at his game once this offseason already. He called Boras' bluff on Cole and won. He basically said, you want to opt out and you want to go get, you want to test the market? Go ahead. We're not giving you the 5th year. And Cole opted back in. He knew he couldn't get that money. I wonder if Boras realizes, I got to up my game if I want to beat Cashman here, because Cashman already beat him once. Quite honestly, Alex, I was kind of stunned he did. I was stunned that Cole, if you told me the Yankees were giving the 5th year, I would have told you would have hit the market. I also fully thought the Yankees were going to give him the 5th year because they're like, we can't lose this guy. So I do wonder to what extent Boras is trying to play games with Cashman here and play games with the Yankees and try to guide them into making a more aggressive bid.
Yeah, I mean, on top of that, I also think when you're looking at, Gerrit Cole's already a Yankee. He loves being a Yankee. It was always his dream to be a Yankee. The Yankees were just like, dude, like, you really gonna leave right as we just made it to the World Series. We're gonna restock, upgrade, and make another push. Why would you leave now? Try to get more money coming off a kind of one of your worst seasons in the last 4 or 5 years? Like, your leverage isn't great and you're getting older. I don't think anyone's gonna give you that type contract that you're looking for. I think that the Yankees had a lot of leverage in that situation, so they won that battle. But they had to try. I get from Boras's and Gerrit Cole's standpoint, they had to try. But in the Juan Soto situation, Mark Feinsand's coming out saying stuff like, I've talked to executives, I've talked to agents, the Yankees and the Mets are the real teams here. The Dodgers, they're already spending in other places. I don't think they're going to go in that direction. He doesn't want to be on the West Coast. And these little things matter. Being on the West Coast is additional 6 hours away from the DR, and he doesn't want to be that far from the DR. So, like, those are interesting kind of little tidbits that actually do make a difference in these decisions. It's not really about money. He doesn't also, Soto doesn't want deferrals. He wants to be paid. Like, he doesn't want to do all the deferral stuff. So, that is another part of the equation to factor in. But the Yankees have already said, according to John Heyman, like last week, that they're willing to give opt-outs to Soto. So if he's 29 years old 3 years later and he wants to opt out and get another big contract because he's still kicking ass and maybe another team's willing to give more, he can opt out and keep going and try to get another deal in a longer term, maybe even more money if the market continues to explode the way it has been. So interesting kind of things and elements that do play a part in this type of equation, Ryan. But, as you said, the Blue Jays and Red Sox to me are Boras knows how to play this game. This is not his first rodeo, and he's done this to the Yankees before. There has never been remember Aaron Judge's free agency? How many times did we hear, oh, the Blue Jays have a lot of money to spend, oh, the San Francisco Giants, and the Giants were actually a little bit more realistic in this equation, but the Blue Jays were just like, they were just a name in the hat, man. Like, they were there, the Dodgers were there, like, we heard all these big names, the Padres, like, we heard these big names with money to spend and aggressive owners, but they are pieces to a puzzle to maximize the contract of where he's actually going to go. The Blue Jays' highest bid, widespread belief, this is propaganda, man. This is straight up Boris propaganda. We've heard it a billion times. We know the games he plays, and there's no one that knows these games better than Brian Cashman. And Cashman, the thing about Cashman's situation is he has to play the game, right? Like, he can't just be like, yeah, like, screw you, Boris. Like, I know what you're doing. He has to play the game because as much as it is about courting Juan Soto, it's about Boris allowing him to behind the scenes, convincing him this is the right decision. This is the right move. Boris is equally in his ear as anybody else in his family, right? So if you piss Boris off, he will screw you. You know what I mean? Like, he does have the capacity to change the outcome of this event. So the Yankees have to play the game. They got to play it the way that Boris wants to play it. You know, and I think Hal Steinbrenner understands he will make back every goddamn penny that he spends on Juan Soto because we're going to make championships a reality. Hopefully we get to win a couple in his tenure here if he does extend. So this is a guy in Soto that, you know, he's going to make you a ton of money long term. He's going to immediately provide you that opportunity to win a championship, but also first and foremost and most importantly, this is a guy who, I mean, by the end of this past season was drawing more eyes than Aaron Judge was. What he did during the postseason, people were hyper-focused on Soto being elite and kind of attacking Judge for not being elite during the playoffs. And I think that long-term, Soto is the man of the face of the franchise. He will, I mean, look, if I'm the Yankees, man, I'm going up to Soto, I'm saying, one day you will walk into Cooperstown with a New York Yankee logo on your hat. You will be richer beyond your wildest dreams and probably have a couple World Series in tow. You will go down as a baseball legend. You will be in Monument Park. Your face will forever be etched in the Bronx, and you will be loved and storied for the rest of your life and beyond that. People will be talking about you. Their kids will be talking about you when your career is long over. You don't remember the Juan Soto days. You don't remember. That's what I'd be selling to Soto. We can give you the money, man. We can give you the money, no problem. We can give you as much money as you need that you'll ever be able to spend in multiple lifetimes. But what you can't get from these other teams is legacy like we can give you. You know, you will be a hero in New York, and there is no better place to be a hero than in New York City. And look, Mets can say the same exact thing. They don't have a Monument Park. They don't have that type of respect. And I think, look, I know Mets fans may battle me with that, but I think it's generally obvious that, like, the Yankees have a more storied history. They have bigger stars. They've always had the bigger names. They've always been in the spotlight. And Soto wants to be in the spotlight. You can get the same amount of money from the Yankees and have the legacy and be a Yankee in history and in Cooperstown and Monument Park and everything that comes in between, the sponsorships, the global brand deals. There is nothing that you can't have being a Yankee. And listen, I think Steve Cohen has all the money in the world. But listen, if we're using the same exact theory, same exact kind of narrative here about the Blue Jays, if the Blue Jays have a ton of money and the Mets have a ton of money and they're willing to spend a ton of money, they're basically the same in this instance because they both can spend a ton of money, but they don't offer the same legacy as the Yankees. And that's why I think at the end of the day, Soto comes back to New York because he gets more from being in New York as a Yankee than he does from the Mets, than he does from the Red Sox, than he does from the Blue Jays. And I don't really think I think the Dodgers are just a face in this equation. I don't think they're actually seriously in the mix here. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think about that? I think the legacy part goes a long way because the Yankees will give him the money. It's not a big deal for them. Like they know his importance to this team. I just think like what they give to him, and he's already been with this team. He's been to a World Series. He's felt that energy. He loved his time here. I mean, like you just sign up to continue doing what you enjoy doing for a year. Like you know what you're walking into. You know the situation they already have there. You know the coaches. You know the fans. You know the atmosphere. Why go to a whole new thing if you just had a good experience as a Yankee? That's kind of my perspective.
Yeah, so the way I view it is, money, it's going to be the differentiating factor here. Like, I don't think anything else is going to play a bigger role in this than money. Not that isn't to say that I think Soto would, for example, let's say the Mets offered $46 million a year and the Blue Jays offered $46.5 million a year. Is he taking the Blue Jays offer? No, probably not, right? Like, I'm not saying to that extent. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how serious Soto is about the money. I'm just kind of guessing. I'm assuming here. But let's paint two scenarios, I guess. The scenario where he just, like, every single penny matters to him, right? Yeah, then we have these then we have these situations where a player may be like, all right, I want X dollar. Like, I don't care who it comes from. I don't care where I have to play. I don't care who I have to play for, that kind of thing. Maybe Soto is that kind of guy. And in that scenario, then, hey, Yankees are going to just have to outbid everyone or at least match everyone. In the scenario where it's like he's willing to leave $1 million or $2 million on the table, I think that Blue Jays rumor would have a lot of credence because it would indicate that the Blue Jays have the highest offer, but Soto doesn't. Like, isn't it interesting? The Blue Jays have the top offer rumors, right? Like, that's so interesting because if they have the top offers, why isn't he there? Right? Like they have, we've reached over $600 million, right? That's one piece of information we can certify. If we know that the Blue Jays have the most money on the table, why hasn't he gone there? Right? Like that leaves you to believe maybe he doesn't want to go there. Also, why would that get out? That the Blue Jays are going to have, why would they ever let that get out? Right? Why would they ever let that get out? The other thing I'd like to throw into this mix that kind of gives me a little bit of pause, not pause, makes me think a little bit. Again, it's Steve Cohen. He should, if the rumors that he's going to outbid everyone, right? It kind of makes me think about the Yamamoto sweepstakes, right? The whole thing was no one really knew where Yamamoto wanted to go. It's whoever was going to offer the most money, the most coin. The Mets did not offer the most money. They matched the Dodgers' money, and the Phillies ended up offering more. Granted, more years as a weirder contract. I don't think Yamamoto's taking that contract. That's a little so I found that interesting. The Giants stuff, you reference Aaron Judge and the Giants. I know people are going to say it's different, and I agree. Judge, I think, had a better chance of staying with the Yankees than Soto does currently because I think Judge wanted to be a Yankee. You know what I mean? But the Giants, there were reports the Giants weren't going to be outbid. The Giants went to 360 for 9 years. The Yankees did not want to go to 9 years and definitely didn't want to go to 360. It came down to, Hal Steinbrenner proving it himself. The Yankees are going to have to put their money where their mouth is, and it comes down to whether Boris gives them the final offer or not. So I just find it interesting again that like we've got two different teams reportedly who are going to have the top offer. It'll be the Blue Jays and the Mets. After all this smoke about the Red Sox, it just there's part of me that does think Soto is just gonna like take the most money and the Mets will make an incredibly aggressive offer and go to a level the Yankees aren't comfortable going to, and then blah blah blah. He ends up met that kind of situation. But it also kind of feels like it's Scott Boras saying, "Come on, give me more. I want more. You're gonna have to give me more." It just feels weird, right? Why do the Yankees feel so comfortable in a situation where the Mets and the Blue Jays are going to outbid them, right? Like, why would they feel so comfortable in that kind of situation? That doesn't feel like a situation I, as an organization, would feel comfortable in, unless A, they're willing to swim in those waters, something that Jack Curry mentioned specifically, or B, the Yankees aren't going to get outbid, and the Yankees are willing to match any offer, right? So it feels a little weird that there's such a gap between, like, Jack Curry's like the Yankees feel very good about where they're at, and everyone else, a lot of these like either not national reporters because not Jeff Passan, it's not those kinds of guys, but like those like I guess secondary reporters are like, oh yeah, the Blue Jays, oh yeah, the Red Sox, oh yeah, the Met. Like it's a little interesting. The Yankees, it's weird the Yankees feel as comfortable as they do in the situation they're in, based on the media, right? It feels weird. It does. I mean, the Yankees were so comfortable and confident with Judge. If you remember, Hal was on freaking vacation. Alex, did you imagine if Hal was in Italy right now during the Soto sweepstakes? He'd get ripped to shreds. He'd be ripped to shreds. He was on vacation. He was so. Believe I saw a report about that situation after he signed that Hal verbatim told Judge, "So why aren't you a Yankee yet? What? What's going on here? You want 9 years? Fine. Here's your 9th year. Fine." Like he was so confident he'd be a Yankee. They're confident. They feel good about this. I wonder if that translates to, maybe feeling better than the media would lead them to believe. I don't know.
I mean, listen, in the end, we hear these rumors like, oh, why hasn't Aaron Judge been more of a part of the process? Why isn't Garrett Cole speaking to Soto? And the truth is I think that giving him his space to make this decision is the right thing, because when you get too many voices coming at you, Boris, family, agents, the teams, executives, the more voices, the more confused, the more annoyed you get. The Yankees want him to make a sound decision, clear-headed, and not be overwhelmed. And they're doing that the best they can, selling him the bill of goods, and hopefully he buys it. And, I mean, listen, the Yankees, in my opinion, have the advantage right now simply because he's already been here for a year. He liked his time. We've heard it from, I don't think there's anyone that said, I haven't seen a single report, a rumor, anything that has suggested that Soto did not like his time in New York. If he enjoyed his time, he likes the players, he gets to hit behind a Hall of Fame bat right next to him, and the Yankees are still committed to making upgrades, and they just made it to a World Series and are going to get better. I mean, it's an easy sell for the Yankees. It's an easy sell. It just really comes down to if Soto, like you said, if it's about money or if it's about legacy. The money's not going to be a problem. He's already getting $600+ million. That means the Yankees have already passed the $550 million Randy Miller said, which is total bullshit. So, they're already past that. Now you're looking at between 600, 700. It's in that margin that the Yankees will have to land. So we'll see what that looks like, whether it's 650, 675, 700. We don't know. But the truth of the matter is the Yankees can say, we'll give you 650, the Blue Jays will give you 700, but we'll give you endorsements that'll, over the course of that whole contract, will amount to $200 million. And you'll make it another $200 million. You know what I mean? Like, we're gonna prop you up, give you everything you need. You'll never have to work a day in your life after. I mean, not that he would anyway, but I don't know. Just kind of going through all those little details, rumors, whatnot. The price is over 600 mil. Everybody still thinks that it's the Yankees and Mets. Everyone else is just a distraction, just noise, just negotiating tactics. The Mets are the real problem for us because Steve Coleman, you just don't know how far he was willing to reach into his pocket. We just don't know what that checkbook looks like. We don't know what those numbers look like. And he'll just keep matching the top offer. Like, that's what Steve Cohen is capable of doing. Match. So we'll see where that tops out at. But the Mets need a lot of work, guys. Like, the Yankees have a much better all-around roster than the Mets do at the moment. Just looking at it from a pure talent perspective, they have to replace a ton of pitching. They need a first baseman now. Pete Alonso still on the market. They have a lot of needs. The Yankees really are only turning over positions that they are going to get upgrades from rookies if they don't acquire, substantial improvements on the free agent market. So, from a roster construction perspective, from a prospect pool perspective, the Yankees have the advantage, in my opinion. I mean, for God's sake, all the Mets do is take our coaches. They just took Desi Drusell. All they do is just steal our guys. We are basically the Mets funnel. For talent. And Luis Severino, Drusell, Carlos Mendoza, how many guys are they going to steal from the Yankees to make it so they're the little brother in that sense. I just think that the Yankees are the premium. They're the best option here. So we'll see how things go. My friends, keep you guys updated on the Juan Soto Sweepstakes. As always, make sure you drop a like and subscription on the YouTube channel. Appreciate you, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Perfect.